All right, you feather merchants. This is about the last trip I took to Mexico, and it's not a prison story, but one of the characters in this story, I'm sure, ended up in prison. Anyway, I was I was married for the first time, and ironwork was really good. I had just come off of a job where I had worked 7 days a week, 12 hours a day for a year and a half. Anyway, my wife at the time suggested, she says, why don't you take a month off and go down to Mexico and see your friends? And I said, yeah, I'll do that. So I get on a flight and I fly down there, and I ran into this old friend of mine from that was living in Puerto Vallarta. And it was interesting. This was in the winter of 77, 78, I believe. Anyway, I go down there, and Vallarta was still a nice place to go. It wasn't overrun by tourists at this time. I mean, it was getting close, but it wasn't like it is now. Anyway, this guy took me to this bay, Mismaloya. And Mismaloya was where Liz Taylor and Richard Burton had filmed that movie, Night of the Iguana. And that kind of made Puerto Vallarta famous when they did that. Anyway, it was a beautiful bay. It was white sandy beaches, really clear water. It was no hotels. There was no hotels on it then. I think it's all hotels today, but back then there was no hotels. It wasn't even that crowded of a beach. They did have this parasailing where the Mexicans get you up there in a parachute, and they have a jet boat, and they have you fly in the air, with this parachute. And I don't know, about once a month they would run someone into the cliff, and they get all busted up. It's like anyway. We ran into this guy. It was a couple. They were from L.A., and this guy was he was a real scammer. But anyway, he had a jet boat, a really nice, real expensive jet boat, and he was driving one of these brand new Jeep Cherokee limited editions, all leather interior. I mean, it was all decked out. And what he had done is he claimed that he had did a little time in Folsom, and I had no reason not to believe him because of what I saw him doing down there. Anyway, he came down there to Vallarta with his girlfriend, who was a very attractive girl, and with this vehicle that he, excuse me, he put the minimum down payment down on it with no intentions of paying for it, and he did the same with the jet boat. And he stuffed the exhaust pipes on the jet boat with ounces of marijuana from the Emerald Triangle, Mendocino, Humboldt County, really good marijuana. Although I did not smoke any of it, but a lot of the parties that I was at, they did do that. And anyway, he took us to this condo that he was renting, and the name of the condo is the Tizoc condos, and it was they were built into the side of a cliff. I think they were fairly new back then, and each unit, just about each unit, had an individual swimming pool. So it was really high rent, really beautiful, and all the condos had a panoramic view of the Pacific Ocean. They set up high on a cliff in the area they called the Gold Coast. It was just beautiful, and we had some incredible parties up there. It was just unbelievable. And anyway, this guy, we, like I said, we attended a lot of parties with him, and we went to this area they called Chico's Paradise. That was another really nice place to hang out in Puerto Vallarta, and it was not a lot of tourists there, although it's overrun by tourists today. And it's a freshwater area where you can swim in fresh water. It was like a small waterfall, and they had a really nice restaurant there, bar restaurant. And then we sometimes we'd hang out at this bar on the Gold Coast. It was really nice. They called it El Set, and it was where the film crew from Night of the Iguana, that's where they would hang out. Even Richard Burton and Elizabeth Taylor, they'd hang out there, and it was it was right on the ocean, a beautiful beach. It was really really incredible, you know. So anyway, we I spent a month down there, and I went back to Indiana. That's where I had a home, and that's when my wife suggested that I move someplace else. And, which, you know what, I was never one for, I got married when I was way too young. I was like 32 years old when I got married, and maybe I was 31. I was too young. And anyway, that was my first marriage. And so anyway, it was about a year later, I asked my friend, I said, whatever happened to that guy that had the jet boat and the Jeep Cherokee? And he told me what happened was he sunk the boat. He was drunk and high. And, he sunk the boat in the Mismaloya Bay, so he lost that, and he was running out of money about this time, and I can't remember if the police confiscated his vehicle because he did something stupid with those people, but he lost his vehicle. And my buddy told me, he said, the guy's living on the beach. He doesn't have a roof over his head anymore, and he doesn't have any money, and he lost his girlfriend. She left him, and he was bumming money off of the tourist, and that's the last he saw of him. And I'm sure at some point in time the Mexican police would have caught up with him and deported him, where he would have had an opportunity to return to Folsom. You know, he that's probably where he ended up. Anyway, that was my last trip to Mexico. What a I had spent, out of all the years I went down there, I probably spent a total of close to 3 years living in Mexico, and I was up and down that west coast all the way to Puerto Escondido. That's where the highway ended back then. You had to have a 4-wheel drive vehicle to go past there, and of course I was spent time in Guadalajara, Mexico City, all through Central America, down in South America, Colombia. Boy, those were some good times, and I thought for sure I was going to end up retiring down there, but by the time I went to work for the department, things started changing there. Cartels got really active, and it got real dangerous down there, so I changed plans. And anyway, you feather merchants, I'm going to end this, and thanks for stopping by, and have a nice day. Okay.